In this video, I want to show you a little bit about something called widgets, and that goes hand in hand with a term called sidebar. Now, when you look at most WordPress websites, a lot of them will have, areas of the screen where you're going to have lots of different things. On this 2013 template that I've got, this footer, for example, has the recent posts, it's got meta, archives, categories, comments, it's got all these things. And depending on the theme that you've got, you might also have a second column called a sidebar. So I want to experiment with some of these areas, but all of these are referred to as widgets. Now we'll go to Appearance and Widgets to set up this area. Depending on your theme, you're going to have generally at least one widget area, possibly more than one. Now the idea behind a widget area is that you're going to have sections of content, types of content that you can click and drag from on these available widgets, and you can simply drag them into the different widget areas and they'll appear within that area. For example, on my main widget area, it says it appears in the footer section of the site. Search, recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, meta. When I look down here, search, archives, recent posts, recent comments, categories, meta. They're all there. So the first thing I want to do is look at maybe how to delete some of these. For example, meta. I don't like the idea of something just called meta. Meta means other or miscellaneous, and that actually gives people areas where they can log in or register for our site, even though maybe I don't even have that available. So when I go down to meta, there's simply a delete button there. I can hit delete, and it's gone. I don't have to hit save. I don't have to do anything else to that. So now, if I go back to the front end and refresh, meta is gone. Maybe I don't want archives to be there either. I can delete that. Recent comments, I don't have a lot of comments. I'll get rid of that. So search, recent post, and categories look good to me. Now I've got search, recent post, and categories. Now notice with this theme, it doesn't give me a lot of say-so over where they're going to be. I have a widget area and it's got space down here to put those, but I can't really say like I want recent posts to be under search and so on. It handles that for me. You can reorder them. Maybe I want search to be last, and it'll make search last on that order. So you can reorder them, but a lot of times you don't get a lot of creative freedom on exactly how they look. Now I also have a secondary widget area. And I don't really know where that's at because there's nothing in it. Right now it says appears on posts and pages in the sidebar. Well, I've got a page here called page 2. It's my sample page. I don't see a sidebar. That's because it's empty. Now there are a number of available widgets that are here by default. You can add more to this list by installing plugins, which we'll go into in a further session, a future session. But let's say maybe I want to add a calendar. So I can add a calendar, and you can give it a title if you want. I'll go ahead and just leave mine blank. Maybe I would like to put in a custom menu. Hey, remember we went over menus in another previous video? You can do that. You can select which custom menu it's going to go into, the main widget area or secondary widget. And then it even gives you a choice on which menu to put in. So maybe I'll drop in that menu one. It'll be a duplicate of my main nav bar, but hey, at least I'll be able to see something. So I'll try that. I'll try a calendar and a custom menu on my secondary widget area. Let's see, on my front page, well, it's actually on all my pages. It's on the front page, my sample page, and probably all of my categories as well. So there we go. There's a calendar right there at the top of my home page. And you see, if I don't have a lot of content, there is a little bit of overlapping going on, but it doesn't matter a whole lot because generally I will have more content than this. And my custom menu is not showing up, and it might be because I haven't given it a name. If I simply put menu and refresh on the front end, there we go. So we have to give the menu a name, but there's my home, page 2, breakfast spread. All of the same navigation I have right up here is now right down here. And that should appear on just about all the pages. Again, once we get some real content in here, this overlap won't be an issue. You'll hopefully have more content than 2 one-line posts. But that's a pretty cool option, is that we can add these to our layouts by simply creating these or adding widgets to our widget area. If you delete some of these, we say, well, I don't want that anymore. When you delete it, never fear, it's still available right over here in your widget area. So even though you delete it from the widget area, it's still available or here under your available widgets. One really important widget area, or available widget, I'm sorry, it's really great, is simply called text. And you can drop in one of these, like for example, I'll drop it in my secondary widget area. And it simply allows you to type in any sort of text that you want to appear there. Now what's great and kind of hidden about this is this does allow you to drop in HTML. So if you can code in with HTML something that you want to appear in the sidebar, you can drop that code right here and WordPress recognizes that. Where this comes in really handy, maybe you want to drop in a YouTube video. You go on out to YouTube, find a favorite video, and maybe even go down to share on the bottom of that video, and it gives you the embed code that you can simply copy and paste in right here. You could drop a video right on your sidebar. So the text option is more than just words. You can put so much code in there and really come up with just about anything you can imagine as a web designer. Now I also want to go out to themes, and I want to change my theme. I've got a lot of themes installed here. I want to go back to the 2014 theme and activate that, which changes the front end of my design completely. Now when you change themes, you will have to go back in and redo your menu. Now, you don't have to completely redo it, but you do have to essentially go to Appearance and Menus and then tell it in the theme location where to go. So I'll say Top Primary Menu, and hopefully my menu will appear right here. And there it is. So when you do choose another theme, you will have to go back to Appearance, Menus, and tell it where to appear. And you might have more than one option like I do here under Theme Locations. And for every theme, they're going to have their own widget areas as well. So I can see I've got this left-hand bar over here, the sidebar where I've got Recent Posts and Categories. If I go to Appearance and Widgets, I'll see that I've got a primary sidebar. I've got a content sidebar that will appear on the right and the footer widget area. So the primary sidebar has search, recent posts, and categories. Search, recent posts, and categories. So every theme has a different widget area, different widgets plugged in by default. So this certainly is a very customizable part of your WordPress. So again, if I wanted to come in here and get rid of one of these, I can. And you can plug any of these in if you want to see, where they're going to appear on your design. Let me go back and grab my calendar. I'll put it back in here on my sidebar. There'll be content sidebar. It says it'll appear on the right. And for the footer, I'll put in maybe the pages. So when I refresh this, I now have my what's labeled the primary sidebar on the left, and it even says left right here. My content sidebar on the right, where I've got calendar and categories, and I've got my footer widget area where I've got should be a list of my pages, and down in the footer there's my list of pages. So the widget areas are not always about sidebars. They do go hand in hand most of the time, but the widget areas can be footers. Some themes even have widget areas specifically for the home page. So when you get a theme that has a really customizable home page, there might be widget areas just for that. So widget areas are really extremely powerful, and you can add more available widgets with plugins, which we'll get into in a future video. But this is just a wonderful way for us to customize our design. Hopefully this helps clear up a little bit about sidebars and widgets. Thanks for watching.